Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of The Listening Room. Yes, I'm trying to bring you these more often than I have in the past couple of years. I know I used to do these fairly regularly, and then you'd get one maybe like every 6 or 8 months. And I'm like, I would love to do these once a month at least. Hopefully I have enough to talk about each month. But seeing as the way I accumulate new music and stuff that I'm listening to, I don't think that would be an issue. So if you're new to The Listening Room, this is the show we like to do here on the channel. This is a holdover from when we were a magazine back in the 90s. We used to do every issue of the magazine, of the print magazine. We used to do listening room picks, stuff that we're listening to in our spare time, new things we've bought. We carried that over to the webzine, although we haven't done that on the webzine in a million years. But we did it quite a bit in the early stages of the webzine. But we have brought it back here on the channel, and now we have other folks who participate in the channel also do their listening room picks from time to time on their little solo videos. So people like to see what we're buying, what we're listening to, stuff we're getting into in our whatever free time we have when we're not reviewing stuff and talking about stuff, right? So let's get to some new things here. So you remember Ken Golden and I did the last episode of Talking Jazz, and we talked all about ECM. By the way, we do have another new episode of Talking Jazz coming out at the end of the month. Mike Antonelli is going to be joining me for that. We're going to be talking about Wayne Shorter, the career of Wayne Shorter. Ken and I were talking about ECM records and the whole history of that and some of our favorite albums. So I've picked up a few other things from ECM, and this was the only Gateway album I did not have, which was the debut. Gateway, of course, the band formed by John Abercrombie, Jack DeJohnette, and Dave Holland. This is from 1975. Killer record on here. Amazing, like how good a kind of like trio like this, how much cool, like a wall of sound that they can create together, just, with minimal instruments, right? And not a lot of studio trickery. This is great. I love, in fact, I was just listening to this again. I love like Sorcery 1, which is the big epic that comes at the end of the album, written by Jack. And I just absolutely love Abercrombie's guitar solo in that, because man, it just sounds like a violin. It just sounds like electrified violin. He's just going off in all these different directions. I love the tone, just so good. This is a great album. They would go on to do a couple albums together under the Gateway name. Mandatory listening for all you fusion guys and jazz rock guys. I also picked up a couple that I didn't have from the Gary Burton quintet and quartet, right? So of course Gary Burton, the legendary vibes player in jazz, and he's got picked up this one, which is Passengers, along with Eberhard Weber, right, on bass. You also have Danny Gottlieb on drums, Steve Swallow also on bass guitar, and Pat Metheny on electric guitar. Pat and Danny, of course, met in Burton's band. They would later form the Pat Metheny group, right? This is quite good. I also picked up the Gary Burton Quintet, Dreams So Real, where they are basically doing the music of Carla Bly. This also, of course, Gary Burton. Mike Goodrick is on here. Pat Metheny's on here. Steve Swallow and Bob Moses. Again, Pat and Bob worked together in this band, and then that Bright Side's Life album, the first Pat Metheny album, would feature Pat with Bob, as well as Jaco Pastorius. Great stuff there. And then we've got the Gary Burton Quintet Ring with Eberhard Weber once again. And again, this is Mike Goodrick and Pat Metheny once again on guitars. You got Steve Swallow on bass, Eberhard Weber on bass, Gary Burton on vibes, and Bob Moses once again on percussion. Great stuff there for all the jazz folks. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time. I might have, but I also picked this up. Just Coolin', Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. Terrific album. You can't go wrong with any Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers stuff. It's all absolutely high quality stuff. What else we got here? So I picked these up recently. This is a very cool kind of like modern day fusion band, fusion prog. And God, I forget exactly where these guys are from. It's a Swedish band. The band is called Hooffoot. Strange name. I picked up their first 2 albums. You got the self-titled debut from Hooffoot right here. And then I also got their second album, which is called The Lights in the Aisle Will Guide You. This is pretty terrific stuff. Really good fusion. You basically have bass, drums, electric guitar, and keyboards, along with you got some additional horns like trombone, and you got violin and sax and trumpet and stuff like that on specific songs. But yeah, two really, really good albums. They have a brand new one that just came out. I think it's right now only released on vinyl, but you can still get the first two on CD if you're looking for them. Here's a great band. This another newer fusion band. The band is called Moonlight Sky. You've heard us talk about them on the Professor's Picks. I got Confusion. This band is absolutely terrific. And also The Four. Both albums, absolutely mandatory stuff. If you like more modern fusion stuff, both of these bands are totally worth getting into. Let's stick on, I think I forgot another ECM release. I did. The Thomas Stanko Quartet. We mentioned Tomas Stanko on the ECM show. Lontano picked this up recently. So much. He's got so many albums. I have a couple others. I also picked up this original album classics with Sonny Rollins. So we got the Sonny Rollins albums, The Bridge, Our Man in Jazz, What's New, Sonny Me Talk, and the standard Sonny Rollins. So definitely cool stuff from the RCA career. More kind of jazz rock here. Barrett's Hulls Band. Okay, the Barrett's Hulls Band, and this is called, or it's for, I don't even know what it's called. I guess it's self-titled, right? So this is, you got this band includes drums, electric piano, flutes, trumpet, percussion, bass, and guitar. Really good stuff. And this recording is from, when was this released? Don't even know. It's a weird package too. I guess 1973, something like that. So this is like an old archival thing from the 70s. Very, very cool stuff. Really like this a lot. If you like that, kind of like that early kind of European jazz rock stuff. Quite good. A lot of, like I said, the packaging is weird. It's in this like kind of like cardboard thing, and it's like, it's like bigger than a regular CD. So it's not going to fit on any shelf. It just annoys the crap out of me, but what are you going to do? So there's that. What else? Let's go to metal, right? So I briefly showed these in the New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal Primer episode that Rich Catino and I recently did. But we covered on a previous episode the band called Ancient Empire, which both Rich and I love quite a bit. And I went on to the Stormspell website because I saw that that's where they had CDs, because at the time we thought that they only were releasing their albums digital, and Stormspell had the catalog. So I picked up Ancient Empire, Priest of Stygian, or Stygia, and these were very reasonably priced too. I got Wings of the Fallen. Look at these great album covers on these. This is a terrific classic sounding metal band. When Empires Fall, The Tower, and Otherworld. So if you like your metal classic sounding, if you like that early kind of US power metal type sound, Ancient Empire for you, man. Absolutely gargantuan guitar tones and riffs, great singing, just classic sounding stuff. All right, what else we got here? I picked up from Ken also a more recent Ancient Steel album called No Other Gods Before Me. What year did this come out in? This is 2021. This is really good. I only really was familiar with the old classic Ancient Steel stuff. Again, great U.S. classic power metal stuff with just histrionic vocals and riffs and guitar solos that never end. This is a cranking album. Really, really good. Again, and I didn't even do the research on how many original members are still in the band. Probably only just a couple, but this is really, really good. Kick-ass album. Really cool band from the 80s that only released, I think 4 albums, although I think 3 officially. There was that one kind of album that never really officially got released, but the band was Icon. This is their 1989 release. This is from Wounded Bird Records. This is called Right Between the Eyes. Really good kind of melodic rock / metal. Very hook-laden heavy metal stuff. Really, really good. Loads and loads of hooks. Big ass production. Really good stuff. Let's see. So you guys know that I have discovered the Helicopters of late, right? Great Swedish band, kind of garage rock band. Some people call them a punk band. Some people call them just a hard rock band, garage rock, retro rock, whatever you want to call them. I picked up a few of their albums, so this finally came in. High Visibility. Very cool stuff. Also got Grand Rock. Got Eyes of Oblivion. This is quite good. And I also got Rock and Roll is Dead. And of course, the reason why I decided to go down this avenue is because I picked up their new one, which is called Overdriver, and I really dug this a lot. I will say this is very different from some of the other stuff. This is way more accessible, I think, and I find the other albums are a bit more raw. I mean, it all sounds like the Helicopters, but I think that and I know a lot of people who are longtime fans of the Helicopters don't really like the new album, and that's kind of the first one that I got into. It's kind of a similar thing with the Night Flight Orchestra. I got into them with the new album, and I love it. And I've since gotten the whole catalog. But so many people are like, "Yeah, the new one is not as good as the other ones." And I'm like, "All right, whatever, you know." All right, what else we got here? So I've finally broken down and decided to not dive into, because I had most of these back in the day. I decided to go out and get really the only W.A.S.P albums that I really give a shit about. So I went out and got the reissues of the first W.A.S.P album. I like that album, right? I got The Last Command. You know, we discussed this in a recent Hudson Valley Squares episode, and I realized, you know what? I kind of do like this album quite a bit. Again, I enjoyed it back in the day, but then I just got off the W.A.S.P train for decades. I got Inside the Electric Circus. I also got The Headless Children, and I got The Crimson Idol. So for me, probably all the W.A.S.P I will need. We'll see about that. You know me. Sometimes I say that, and then I'm just kind of like, well, you know, I decided to go deeper. But I've had so many people tell me that there's a lot of hit and miss stuff in the W.A.S.P catalog. So you know, we'll see where that goes, right? But for now, I'm just kind of leave it at that and just enjoy those. And we'll see if something changes in the future. All right, what else we got here? So we got ranking the album shows that are kind of like not on the calendar, but on the to-do list of bands that I need to just kind of soak myself more into. Vicious Rumors is one of those. You know, of course, Rich Catino and John Gaffney and myself are in this whole kind of zone of doing these 80s, underground traditional metal bands. So Vicious Rumors, got that one there, the self-titled. We got Welcome to the Ball. It's a great Rock Candy release, reissues. And here we got this from Shrapnel Records, right? This is Digital Dictator. And then their other Shrapnel release, which is Soldiers of the Night, right? Vicious Rumors. And there's others. I have another one that I've had for ages. So that's another band that looking to get into. I think I showed these last time, but the two Malice albums, also Rock Candy reissues, great band. We'll be doing, I know it's only 2 records, but we'll be doing a little ranking of that. Fifth Angel, another band from the same time period. Diving into these, another early, I believe their first album or 2 were on Shrapnel, if I remember correctly, and this is the more recent one. So another really cool band. Of course, Grant Arthur and I are planning a Brownsville Station ranking. So, of course, we've got some Brownsville Station stuff. There is, the hell is this one called again? No BS. All right. We've got the Rock Candy reissue of Air Special. We've got the what is otherwise known as the Red Album, self-titled. And then I've got the first 4, the complete Big Tree recordings. So, so Brownsville Station, another band that's going to be happening soon on the album rankings. Again, I don't know if I've showed these before, but we'll show them again. Super Sister, great Dutch prog band. We did a Dutch prog show in the prog seat recently. We had one of their albums included. So Super Sister, this is the original. It says original 1972 album. I don't know what that means because it wasn't their first album. But this, of course, is Pudding and Gisteren, however you say that. And then we've got a couple 2-on-1s. We've got Iskander and Spiral Staircase. Some people consider those two of their greatest ones. And then we got Present from Nancy and To the Highest Bidder. Of course, we did one of those on the recent In the Prog Seat show. I think I already covered the Honeymoon Suite stuff, but if not, we'll show them again. So I've got a few Honeymoon Suite albums because that's another band that we'll be working on a ranking at some point. So we've got Clifton Hall. We've got The Big Prize. We've also got Alive, one of the more recent ones. Good stuff. That's Frontiers Records release. And then some of their classics, Racing After Midnight. Nice Rock Candy release. This one is this their self-titled? And then one more Rock Candy. We've got Monsters Under the Bed. So great to see some of these Rock Candy things. I think the Coney Hatch stuff, I believe we showed the Coney Hatch stuff. You want to see the Coney Hatch stuff? All right, we'll show the Coney Hatch stuff. That's coming up real soon, right at the beginning of May. Rich and John and I are doing that. So we got Coney Hatch Friction. We've got Coney Hatch self-titled. We've got, oh, that's not self-titled. That's Out of Hand, sorry. This is self-titled. Again, all these cool Rock Candy reissues. And then, of course, 4, their last and final album from Frontiers Records. So got that stuff. All right, so I think we're kind of winding down here, but let me just make some room because I got stuff all over the place. That's what happens when I do these episodes. It's just like start pulling stuff from all over the place. All right, so on top of that, I do have a few Hellstar releases to share with you because that's another band that's going to be coming up on the Ranking the Album show, and I've been trying to get as much of these as I can because, again, I only had a few. One of those bands. A lot of these bands are like bands I've always kind of liked, but I just haven't really just dove into the catalog all that much. So the most recent things I got was the King of Hell. Love that cover. Evil is everything. Got Vampiro, signed by their singer. Kind of cool. I just bought that off of eBay. Came signed. I was like, all right, nice. Burning Star. Great U.S. heavy metal band here. Remnants of War. The Wicked Nest. And I might as well just show them all to you because we got Sins. What's this called? Sins of the Past. Distant Thunder. I believe I've showed these before. Multiples of Black. There's the band right there. And Nosferatu. So I think I showed those before. I picked up a couple more Virgin Steels too, so there's those, but I think I've already shown those as well. So yeah, so that's what I'm kind of like listening to, working on. These are all these things that got to keep the pipeline going. That's what these Ranking the Album shows are just. I mean, if you would see, because I have so many bands that are in the pipeline, and I just have stacks of CDs all over my desk of bands that are like upcoming, like in the weeks and months ahead. So it's just like everything is just right here for me. So it's like I look around, it's just stuff everywhere. So yeah, that's what I'm listening to on this episode of The Listening Room. Tune in soon. There will likely be more, so likely. Pretty sure there will be. And this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options all down below. Thanks in advance for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.